we're gonna get an acceleration here at the A8. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2017 Audi A8 L with the 4-liter V8. First and foremost, though, a huge shout out and thank you to Harrison Imports for giving me some time with the A8. Check out their inventory and link below. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 450 horsepower and then 444 pound-feet of torque. And then also you can get a standard 3-liter supercharged V6 for this model year that has 333 horsepower and then 325 pound-feet of torque. But obviously this is the one to go for, more power, more torque, and it's a V8 over a V6. Now let's go over the front end of the A8. So first off, the hood is pretty normal in terms of Audi standards. The thing that's not normal is the headlights. Look how crazy these lights look, especially when they're on. Super intricate with the design, definitely unique and different. And then notice we've got the parking sensors here along the front. We've got a camera there just below the Audi logo. And yeah, I mean, overall it has Audi's normal styling except a little bit larger. The biggest thing is just those headlights. They look crazy. Coming on the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 21-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you've got kind of like a basic silver design here on the wheels, which just look really good overall with the car. The biggest thing is, well, the size of the car. It is absolutely massive. Like, there's some regular cars. Well, here's a BMW. Pretty normal in size. There's the A8. Significantly bigger. Now let's pop into the rear of the A8. So first, notice that you've got the cargo netting on either side. Storage space is pretty good, but it is a little bit on the smaller size for how big this car is. You guys will understand why in just a moment. But that's pretty much everything for the rear. It does close automatically, which is not that common in sedans, but the A8 has it. Now here's the rear on the A8. Something that I really like is actually the chrome piece that goes all the way across. I think that's cool design-wise. You have the A8 L badge, and then you've got the 40T badge. Parking sensors just down below, and then notice you've got the coverings over the exhaust tip. Looks pretty good overall. And yeah, that's everything for the rear. Now here's a door panel in the back. Notice we've got the sunshade right here. And then this is interesting. This isn't necessarily the nicest material up here, but everything else down below is really nice material-wise. You've got the Alcantara, really nice leather. And then notice we've got a bunch of controls right here. You've got the controls for like the sunroof, for example, and then all the shade controls. And then notice we've got the door lock and unlock as well. And then here are the seats in the back. So I've got these full leather seats. You've got the cool perforated design in the center portion. And then look at like the legroom. You pretty much can lay back here from a legroom perspective. It's pretty crazy. We've got some vents back here. It does have heated seats. You've got the climate controls for the rear as well. And then notice you've got little light controls up here, and you've got tons of lights up here. And then yes, it does have the mirrors, so you can look at how beautiful you are. Wait, there we go. We got me in the camera. And notice that we do have the Alcantara headliner suede headliner here at the top. My brain isn't working today, but yeah, well, there's also shade back there. Now that's everything for the back. Now the door panel here in the front is identical to the rear, so I'm not really going to go over it all that much. You guys can see all of the trim pieces, everything super similar. Notice that is for the trunk. Got a little Quattro logo. And then here are the seats at the front, super nice. You can see really nice leather all the way down. Full power adjustments on the seats. And then they do have the massage function. Here's the pedals just down below that. Light controls up here. Steering wheel is automatically adjustable, and there's one more look before we pop in. Now here is the steering wheel, which is pretty interesting in terms of the designs. You've got leather all around the steering wheel, which is pretty normal. Leather around the airbag cover, but it's just interesting. The spoke design, definitely different, definitely unique. You do have paddles in the back, which are plastic. I think that's a little bit of an oversight, but it's not too big of a deal. And then notice you've got all of your stocks here for like the cruise control, turn signal, and then we've got our windshield wiper stock on the other side. And yeah, that's all for the steering wheel. Now here is the gauge cluster. There's a couple different menus you can scroll through. Now this is Audi's older unit because they obviously did do a full redesign on the A8, and this is prior to that, so it has the analog gauges with the little screen there in the center, so it's not as cool as the virtual cockpit, but it gets the job done. Now here's the center infotainment system. I'm gonna see if I can get it to pop down. So if I open up the door, wait for it. Boom. And then when you turn the car on, pops right up. Pretty cool feature. Now the touchscreen's really, or sorry, the screen rather is really close to you, so you'd think it'd be a touchscreen, but it is not. You control everything via analog controls here with the screen. And as for those controls, I mean, it's okay. It's not necessarily the easiest to use. I mean, think about how easy this would be if it was a touchscreen. But other than that, it's a pretty good infotainment system, I'd say. And then notice we've got our different drive modes. You've got your comfort, your auto, dynamic, and then individual as well. And then it does have a camera system. It's kind of hard to get into, but notice we've got the backup camera with trajectory lines, and then we do have the bird's eye view, and then we have a couple different viewpoints, like you can do the front camera, for example. So from a camera perspective, it's great. Just sad that this isn't a touchscreen is all. Now I've got a bunch of controls down here. Notice that this puts the screen down, which is pretty cool. Auto stop start, we got a stability control, hazard lights, parking sensors, and then this is for the rear shade to raise or lower that. Got our dual zone climate controls, heated, cooled seats for the front, and then analog controls for the infotainment system. The most annoying shifter in the car industry, if you ask me. So here's why I am not a huge fan of this shifter. So pull it down for drive, and then you can get it into reverse most of the time, but it's not necessarily the easiest. And the shifter, just like most shifters, gets hot in the sun, and so like you don't want to grab it for too long, but you have to like grab it perfectly. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to get into gear, but there's a lot of cars with this shifter, so it's not just the A8. And then notice you got some cup holders right here, parking brake, stop start button. Center console is pretty cool because it's these two separate parts basically. So you have the little things that you can basically raise like that. So I think that is a cool little feature. So whatever you want from an armrest perspective. Now the other function is opening up, so you just pick it up like normal, and yeah, it's a regular center console. Aside from that, we've got a glove box lined with felt, tons of storage space, nice metallic trim for the handle itself, and then you've got stitching all over the dash and leather and all that fun stuff. And then finishing up top here, notice we've got the sunroof, so you have one for the front and then you've got one for the back as well. And this is interesting, I've never seen this in a car before. So notice we have the shade for the sunroof, and this is for the front one, okay? But if you want to do the back one, then you press rear mode, and then you can do the rear sunshade. So yeah, I've never seen that in a car before. The A8 has it, it's pretty cool, and that's all for the top. And then as always, if you want the most up-to-date pricing on this particular A8, go check out Harrison Import's website in the description below. Let's take it out and see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off here in the A8. So first off, there's your visibility of the hood, and hopefully you can see the heads-up display now. Here's the visibility through both the mirrors. And then throughout the rest of the rear, still easy to see out of even with the shades up, and let's set off. So we are setting off in the A8, and this is an interesting car because it's kind of like a chauffeur type car is a good way to put this. But obviously most people buying this are probably not going to actually be chauffeured around in it. Most people buying this are looking for like a really nice luxury car. Like the BMW 7 Series is the same way. It's kind of a chauffeur type car, but most people buy it just to have a really nice luxury car. So does it do really nice luxury car stuff? First off, ride quality, super smooth. Like you go over stuff, doesn't upset the car. It's very quiet as well. It's really good at just cabin insulation. Like you don't hear a whole lot coming in to the cabin from the outside. And on top of that, this engine gets the torque pretty low down, so you don't really get into the throttle all that much, and it just gets up and moves. And overall, it just has a really nice luxury experience. And right now, driving down the road, getting a massage, and yeah, everything's just great. It's a very nice, comfortable car. And I mean, obviously from a daily driver perspective, it's great. It just does a really good job. And from a luxury car perspective, it's really good. My only, I guess, gripe with this car is just the upper regions aren't the nicest material-wise. Like right now, I've got the 2021 Ram TRX that I purchased earlier this year, and like the leather on the dash on that truck is really nice. And this is like the cheaper stuff you get in like a Laramie Ram, for example. And I know that completely different vehicles, but like hopefully that point makes sense, right? The leather that they use like on the steering wheel and like lower down on this car, I feel like they should use the same leather on the top of the dash so that it all is uniform and all looks really nice. That's just kind of a little thing with the car, but again, no big deal. Aside from that, other stuff with the car, it is big. You can definitely feel the size, but it's not horrible. It's not that difficult to drive. If you are used to driving like an SUV, this isn't gonna, even though it weighs as much as an SUV, it still feels significantly more nimble compared to an SUV. Like going around corners, feels great. Ooh, this thing is quick. Wow, that's in the comfort mode too, and I just barely got into it. Let's go into the dynamic mode. It'll kind of make everything a little bit more aggressive when we're in the dynamic mode. Yeah, cornering's great on it too, actually. That's pretty solid. There's not a ton of body roll. You do feel the weight, but body roll is pretty minimal. So we're gonna get an acceleration here at the A8. It's actually really quick. Definitely feel the turbo lag, but once you get past that initial turbo lag, it's pretty quick. It sounds pretty decent too. We'll get another. Yeah, and the gear shifts are super smooth, super quick. Definitely like that part of it as well. And I'll actually pop it over into the, so one more down for the, we'll do the manual mode. Yeah, it just keeps pulling. It has that freight train feel to it, like similar to what, you guys remember I reviewed that Bentley Speed, and same thing. It takes a second, but as soon as it gets into it, it just has such long legs. And this is the same exact way. It takes a second to get into it and then has such long legs. Let's see if I can get back into just automatic mode. Yeah, pretty easy to go from manual to automatic mode. Yeah, I definitely like the acceleration feel, and that's something that you get with these bigger luxury sedans, is you get that, like, again, that freight train feel where it just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling once you fully get into it. Like, look at this, nothing, and then boom. and it's like there. So let's get into setting things up here with the A8 L. First off, exterior wise, it just looks like a big Audi sedan. The headlights are pretty cool, but styling, there's nothing really too special about it, if you ask me, but Audis are good looking cars. Interior wise, you guys know what I said, like, I just don't like the dash. Everything else is really nice. I like the Alcantara, I like the suede, I love the backseat area. It's got tons of cool amenities. And then driving characteristic wise, amazing luxury car, has a performance side to it because it doesn't have a ton of body roll. And then on top of not having a ton of body roll, it also is very quick with this twin turbo V8. Now, what I'd have to say, judging by how this drives, the V6 is probably not going to be enough. So you're going to want to get the V8 because you need to be able to do this. Yeah, just hold on. As soon as you floor it, just hold on, and it'll it'll get up and go. It's a fun car, but yeah, that's the A8 L. Is the, I guess, affordable chauffeured car. Now let's get some things up for our video on this 2017 Audi A8 L with the 4-liter V8. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Harrison Imports for giving me some time with the Audi. Check out their inventory and link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.